Hello everyone, welcome to part 2. I never thought this moment would come, but here it is. How to make a new cover. If you didn't see the previous video of how to prepare a spine, I will link all that in the bottom up top wherever you can find it, so that you can go ahead and do the first part of this video. I'm so sorry for the delay in part 2. I've been dealing with some illness. So let's get started. First, I want you to take your Bible and measure it. Measure it across, height. You're going to need all the measurements. For the cover, front and back, please leave 3/8 of an inch, like you see here. And then, once you see your exact measurement, add 1/8 to that. These are the measurements on the screen for mine. So just watch this part over and over. For the height, you will also add 1/8 of an inch to your measurement on both sides, on the top and the bottom, as you see here. For this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a soft cover Bible. So the thickness of the paper you need is going to be about poster board thickness. You can even use watercolor paper for this step. For the spine width, use the original measurement, and then for the length, add the 1/8 to top and bottom. Please make sure to double check on these measurements with your Bible and that they all add up and align. So what you should have is a piece of paper for each part, front cover, back cover, and spine. Alright, let's talk about the material that you're going to use for your cover. Ideally, you want a thick paper that's meant for bookbinding or imitation leather. I wouldn't venture to genuine leather, not in this video at least. And after that, you're going to cut that piece to size. You're going to leave about 1/2 inch around each side and then cut it. So just follow along as I show you exactly what I mean. You are going to leave a 3/8 of an inch space between the spine piece of paper and the covers. That will allow the book to open and close smoothly. Make sure that everything lines up, and then you can, with a pen or something, marker, trace it so that you can remove it and attach one piece at a time. I just remembered I didn't give you a material list, so I actually have one on my website. I will leave a link down below, and you also see written steps if you want to go along with the video. Okay, it's time for the gluing part, and this should be simpler than the math part. So always use a dirty or just an extra piece of paper to put your paper on, and then attach the glue so that it doesn't get all over the place. And you're simply going to attach it to the leather or paper that you're working with. Every step where you are gluing something down requires pressure on both sides, so don't skip this step. Take it slow and make sure everything adheres properly. Make sure to press for a couple minutes every time after putting down the paper to your imitation leather or paper, ensuring that there are no air bubbles and making sure that it adheres well. This takes a couple minutes, but it's worth it so that nothing lifts. Additionally, you could put heavy books on top for maybe 30 minutes and then go ahead and do the next one. Always let your work rest for at least 30 minutes to an hour. You can also do this over multiple days, and that is actually better. Slow is the key here, actually. Depending on your imitation leather or paper that you're working with, this part will be relatively easy or relatively difficult. For me, this imitation leather is not my favorite because it does not adhere quickly. So I have to put weights on it. It can be a book, a brick, or even little clips, paper clips. But if you do use clips, make sure to put a piece of paper to protect your leather or other material. Start with one side and then the next side and so on. I will show you how to do the corners in a moment, so just keep watching. This part of the recording is where you can see me doing one side, folding it down, putting pressure, and then you're gonna see how I leave the corners. I don't do anything to them, I just leave them as they are, and then I cut once I'm ready to fold that corner down. There's no really easy explanation. I would rely on watching this over and over again. Always protect your work with a loose sheet of paper before adding books or anything heavy. So here's the final result. Again, please remember that this took at least an hour to dry, but I always do it overnight for best results. Rushing is not gonna make it better, because then things are soggy and don't adhere properly. Now in this part, you will see that I already attached the end paper, which is a beautiful gray. I didn't show this part because this is actually part of the video that came before this one, part 1, how to prep the spine. So I will leave links to that down in the description and up here. Okay, so now it's time to attach the text block, the Bible, to the cover, and this part is not difficult, but it does take some trial and error to make sure that the Bible is centered and that the pages and papers are straight and squared. So just play around with it, put the spine directly on the spine piece of paper, and then fold it, check on each side, make sure that everything's even before you begin to glue everything down. Please use a bigger brush for this part, as you want everything to go on smoothly and finish quickly, so that the glue doesn't have any time to dry, because there are no do-overs in this part. You want to apply a good coat. Don't be cheap on this part, and don't overdo it either, because it'll be too soggy. And slowly bring the top down. You don't want to do it the other way, where you bring the paper down. You want to bring the cover down. All right, and you're going to flip it over, and you're going to open the page where you just glued, and you're going to add pressure with your bone folder, with your hand, and make sure that everything is pressed down. Always leave a piece of paper in between to absorb any moisture and allow everything to dry well. And then you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. If you see the paper lifting on the corners, you can add some pressure with a clip, but just make sure to protect it with another piece of paper. My favorite method is to simply fold everything down and just let the weights of the book do its work. Please leave the heavy weights or books on there for at least a day before you reveal the finished product. Ta-da! It's here. Alright, let's look at the before and after. Also, if you need written instructions for this part, there is a blog post in my website where you can follow along with the video and notes. Okay, bye everybody!